Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Batwoman, specifically Season 3. So, huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Season 3, which is 13 episodes, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm recording on March 2nd, 2022. It's roughly been a few hours since the finale has aired. Normally, I don't do videos about Batwoman. The last videos I did were about the Season 1 and Season 2 premieres. But I really had a lot to say about Season 3. And since I normally don't do videos, I normally don't take notes. So we are going to talk about with each episode, either trinkets, what reminded me specifically from the episode, what was my favorite moment, and if there was a peeve, I'm going to talk about the peeve moment as well. And since I didn't take a lot of notes, it really will tell whether or not what things stuck out to me the most, because sometimes all you need is like small trigger words when you're reading a synopsis to be like, oh yeah, I remember that episode. Plus also, we've been seeing these episodes since October, so it's been a while. So just bear with me on that though. But I will say this before we really dive into Season 3 as well, is that we did have Ryan appearing in a flash forward during the whole Armageddon crossover event on The Flash. We had the whole, I think it was the 10 years later, and we got a huge sneak peek at the fact that Ryan and Sophie were married together, Batmore, and they were ready to start a family, looking to adopt even. So there was that little bit of snippet of what could have happened in that different timeline. But let's start in the present day. I will say this though, as I'm actually looking over my notes and actually trying to break it down, I realized something that you could pretty much think of it as three separate parts. We have the first 5 episodes dealing specifically with the villain trophies, and then we deal with the next 5 episodes that really focus on Poison Ivy or Poison Mary. And then you deal with the last 3 episodes that deal with Marcus and pretty much him fulfilling his the Joker's final plan kind of a thing, which I thought was very surprising that it's separated now that I look at it, because I remember from the Season 3 trailer, it was hugely promoting the fact that it'd be all these old villains coming back, or the trinkets of the old villains, and I thought it would be like a whole season thing. And then later they were beefing up the fact that Poison Ivy was coming back. I thought she was going to be here for the full season, like that was the season bad. But to see it separated like this was actually pretty interesting, I would say. So let's dive into it. We'll talk about I guess we'll talk about it in the parts then, now that I mentioned it. So episode 1, Mad as a Hatter. In the title, we deal with the Mad Hatter's lost hat. Pretty much said it. Aside from the fact that it's pretty much I think it's picking up where we left off, because of the fact that it wasn't that, like, those trinkets weren't out lost in Gotham for very long. But yeah, I just very vaguely, I only remember that one because of the fact that it's new characters we got introduced to. It was the premiere. I remember being very surprised that the Mad Hatter was just in this one episode after getting so much hype from it, from the Season 3 promo. So I do remember feeling like, wait, that was it? So that was a bit of a shocking peeve there for me. Second episode, Loose Tooth, deals with Killer Croc and its infectious tooth. Says it all. I do remember when I was watching this, I really loved the appearance, or maybe the lack of appearance, of the Croc, or all the only small pieces that we got to see of him. It really added to the creepy mystery. I mean, to only show certain aspects of the makeup element to it, instead of because sometimes just keeping it in the shadows and really like hinting to the fact that, oh, you see bits of his scale, but you don't see fully him scaled out. And then those pictures of him, like picture transformations that we got to see, I remember being like really creeped out, and like, this is like a very good, I guess, transformation kind of a thing. Because sometimes that can make or break the believability behind it if it's not like done right. But this one, the way that they shot it, and the way that he always kept to the shadows, and the few times we saw him briefly in the light, it was just enough to be like, oh, this guy's scary kind of a thing. So I do remember that. Episode 3 was Freeze, and episode 4 was Anti-Freeze. So I kind of think of it as like a two-parter, because they both deal with Victor Freeze's canister of like freezing bodies. We also find out that it was Jada Jet who commissioned the Black Glove Society to find out if the canisters would work, and pretty much freezing somebody and being able to bring them back unharmed. Apparently, that wasn't really the case after the two episodes. So that was something there. And then the fifth episode, or I guess kind of you can, would I? Okay, I will probably end it with like the Batman trinkets at the 4. The fifth one is kind of like teeing up with like what we have to deal with later on in the season, or I guess throughout the rest of it, was the a lesson from Professor Pig. Mainly not a Batman trinket, but I remember this is when Ryan invited Sophie to be her plus one at this fancy dinner with Jada Jet, and then Marcus obviously crashed the party, only to find out that the cook that Jada hired was trying to kill her and like slaughter them. So now everybody was drugged, and then Ryan and Sophie were trying to fight without revealing their skills while also trying to survive while being drugged. But this was the episode where we were told by Jada that Marcus has a very dark secret. He has like no emotion, no empathy, and this is where we saw him try to mimic the Joker face with blood. I do remember being very much liking how Ryan was still able to defeat Professor Pig while being very disadvantaged by the fact that she didn't have anything of the bat suit. She was very drugged, and I believe she got like a leg injury as well too, and she was still able to stop this guy who was trying to kill them. So I thought that was very good to see how resourceful she was by it. So that was something there. Now, episode 6 starts off with the whole Poison Ivy arc of the season, with the How Does Your Garden Grow? So with this one, we realized that, I think it was at the end of episode 5 where Mary kind of disappeared in the park. Only in episode 6 to realize that something has happened to Mary, and she's slowly showing attributes of Poison Ivy. And by the end of the episode, we get her pretty much fleeing the Bat Team because Poison Mary has kind of slowly taken control. So I thought that was very interesting. And then episode 7, which is also the last episode of 2021, called Pick Your Poison, pretty much ended with the debut of Poison Mary's new look, with the red hair and the green outfit. But we see what I remember, I guess what I could say is from the start of episode, like the whole Poison Mary story arc, was that it was really the start of a new dynamic between her and Alice, which is something I really enjoyed watching, even after Mary's time as Poison Mary, just to seeing that dynamic shift and change between the two of them was just very interesting to see, and I really enjoyed that. So after episode 7, we went to the winter break, and then we came back with episode 8, which is Trust Destiny. In this episode, we got a lot more backstory on the relationship between Renee Montoya, I believe, and her girlfriend Pam, aka the original Poison Ivy. And we figured out what really led to her desiccation, or I guess her imprisonment by Batwoman. Also, this is the episode where Marcus learns about Ryan's secret as Batwoman because of Poison Mary. Poison Mary tells Marcus in hopes that would let the Bat Team know that she doesn't want their help, kind of a thing. But Marcus is actually stopped by Ryan using what they had hoped to be the cure for Poison Mary. They used it on Marcus to kind of slowly desiccate him, but now they have to find a new cure for Mary. So that was a little interesting there to see who was the priority for the Bat Team, and just seeing how that was going. But in episode 9, titled Meet Your Maker, which focused on one storyline about the Joker's toy buzzer being needed to be found, and that was done with Jada Jet calling her old friend John Diggle to come help her find the toy buzzer. And meanwhile, we had Poison Mary being led to Pam, Poison Ivy, because she was calling out to her, needing her little sireling or sapling or whatever, sporling to come meet her, kind of a thing. But I do remember in this episode, I really enjoyed not only the Poison Mary Alice dynamic, and like Alice trying to keep Mary safe suspecting that Poison Ivy was the one calling her back, and really saying like Mary's kind of in danger and she wanted to get her away from that. But I also really enjoyed the backstory we got with Jada and Diggle, and it was always great to get Diggle back. But we got a little bit of time with him and Luke when Diggle said he couldn't open the box that contained the lantern ring, the Green Lantern ring. So that's something there. And then the last episode we had of the Poison Ivy arc was episode 10, called Toxic. And this is pretty much us seeing Pam using Poison Mary and pretty much using her as like a battery for her power until the point where she was like ready to like suck her dry, kind of a thing. But in the end, we do see Pam and Renee going off to Coriana to live out their days without any corrupted societies and relishing in the nature of Coriana. But then we also see, for this to happen, we see Poison Mary working with the Bat team to stop Pam's plan to pretty much drown half of Gotham City. So Gotham, is it called? City's not attached to it, so it's just Gotham. But there's that. The one peeve I did have about this episode was the way Mary lost her powers. From my understanding, it was the fact that she had to take the suppressor that Renee was taking to make sure that I don't know what to call it. Immediately in my head, all I want to use is Vampire Diary terms when it comes to like compulsion and like vervain, but like Poison Ivy's version of that. So Mary had to take that. So then when Poison Ivy or Pam would siphon or try to suck out the power from Mary, then she would kind of get this very diluted, poisoned version of her own power. And apparently that was how Mary lost her Poison Mary abilities. That really bugged me. I don't know why. It just seemed like really that's how you're going to separate Mary from Poison Mary, was through that. But then also, I was actually kind of shocked that was the end of us seeing Pam and Renee. Like, that would be the end of the Poison Ivy story. Since, again, I was under the impression that we would get them as Poison Ivy was, under my impression, was going to be the villain of the season. So I thought we'd be getting her until, like, episode 13, but apparently not. So I was kind of surprised and a little peeved that, like, it was built up to be something that was a lot bigger than what it actually was. So there's that. But I guess it proved to work when you see the bigger picture. Like, now that I see how the 13 episodes was broken down to when it came to like villain specificity, it makes sense why they left her in that part in episode 10. So there's that. So moving to episode 11, called Broken Toys, we get the return of Victor Saz, and he's the one that has all the scratch tick marks on his body that tallies all the people he's killed. But anyways, he returns because he was hired by Marcus Jet to pretty much go kill Jada and get the evidence that would show that Marcus was behind his father's death, the whole point of poison like peanut butter kind of a thing. But this was also the episode where Jada realizes that Ryan is Batwoman when she takes on Victor Zsasz. Thing I really liked, funny thing enough though, in this episode, I really liked Victor Zsasz and just like, I guess his over-enthusiasm or over-enthusiastic ways when it came to Jada and Ryan and that whole dynamic. He was very invested in the two of them and just seemed like he was a big fan of Ryan, and I thought that was hilarious. So that was just a huge entertainment point for me to have Victor Zsasz like that. Also, seeing Ryan kick his butt was also great too. But then we had, I believe, at the end of the episode, we had Ryan and Sophie officially getting together, I believe. I believe so. Am I correct? Yeah, they get together because then I believe... Yeah, they get together because it's after this episode where we go on a 2-week hiatus due to the Olympics. And they left us with that final scene being Ryan and Sophie actually sleeping together. So it's like, at least they ended on a good note before they sent us off on a 2-week break. But that's where they ended. So it's really great to see them always meaning to get together despite whatever timeline Thawne had created on The Flash, where they did end up married together. It's great to see that. At least we got the starting points for that. So anyways, we come back 2 weeks later after the Olympics to episode 12, which is We're All Mad Here. And this is where we get the return of the Black Glove Society, because Marcus pretty much wants to kill them all off. He exposes who the members are. Jada is a member of the Black Glove Society. He tries to recruit Alice. He tries to get his hands on the Joy Buzzer, because the final jolt is supposed to, I guess, convert or realign his neurons in his head back to what it was before he got jolted by the buzzer by the Joker. So everybody wants this buzzer thing. But what I really take away from the episode is Alice's hallucinations. In this episode, we really do see her try to get the buzzer for herself in hopes that it would make her become Beth again and lose the Alice persona. And we see this whole thing about her going through a trial, being all charges being dismissed against her, and we really go through it thinking like, yeah, this actually happened, only to realize it's her hallucinations. And with her hallucinations, she sees Ocean again, she sees Mouse again. A part of me kind of wanted her to see Kate again somehow, and just be lost in it, but that's pretty powerful, and it really showed how much she really wanted the Joy Buzzer, just so that she can become Beth again with that one last jolt. So that's something there. And then we have the finale, which aired tonight, which is episode 13. Are we having fun yet? And this is with Marcus taking on pretty much the Joker role and trying to finish the final plan that he had put in place, following his plans, getting his hands on the Bat blimp, which is not really inconspicuous for them to have in the first place. But anyways, he tries to make a ploy of revealing Batwoman's identity to Gotham, only to really get everybody out in the open so he can drop acid bombs on them to really scar them and really like get Gotham to then hate Batwoman because it came from Batwoman's blimp. That doesn't really happen. Huge fight happens. Batwoman ends up using the Joy Buzzer on Marcus, and he looks to be himself again. We see Alice going away to get some help for herself with Mary's insistence. But anyways, the thing I really liked about, which are the two things I really liked about this episode? I really liked that there was this true reunion from Ryan, Jada, and Marcus. I hope it's true and it's not a play. I really love the performance of Mary and Alice at the very beginning, when Alice has that breakdown of like just wanting to be Beth, and like she just wants Alice out of her head kind of a thing. Truly powerful, truly moving. And it makes you really feel and really hope that Alice is able to get that relief from the trauma she's had. And then the thing that I really liked about the episode is that it was Alice's decision to make the change, because we do see that that's what Ryan wanted her, pretty much telling her that we both know that you don't need the Joy Buzzer, Marcus does, but it's Alice's decision to change back to Beth is what's holding her back. So to see that Alice is actively making the decision to want to be better and to get help is something I really liked, and I really hope she's able to do that, because she has grown quite a lot and she's had to go through so much. So I hope that she's able to get the reprieve that she hopes and desperately wants. The thing I didn't like about this episode, the peeve, was that during that fight scene in the blimp between Ryan and Marcus, it really bugged me that Ryan believed Marcus when he kept saying sorry after she was beating on him so many times. I was expecting him to just laugh at her. But the fact that she believed his sorry, to the point that she helped him up, and then she's just surprised that he reveals that it was a ploy and that he kicks her out the window. For me, it's like, really? You can't be surprised that that's what he was going to do. I'm surprised you helped him up. Like, I would have just, why would you not just knock him out until he's unconscious? Like, if this guy was, like, so without emotion, and you knew you needed the Joy Buzzer to get that emotion back into his brain waves kind of a thing, why would you think you punching him a few times is going to do the trick? Like, that really bugged me, is the fact that she she full on believed him in that moment. Another peeve also was the fact that they were totally off with the continuity when it came to the blood, because when she's punching him, he has so much blood on his face, like running from his nose, around his mouth. He had so much blood when he was laying on the ground. And then when she finally helps him up and he's standing, and then he turns on her saying like, I can't believe like you would like she shows his true face again. And I was like, I can't believe like you'd believe this. He has no blood on his face when he kicks her out of the window. And I'm thinking like, dude, it wasn't like the blood when he was laying down, it was fully red. It wasn't like dried blood that was caked on. It was like fully flowing. It was full on bright red. And then him standing is like no blood at all on his face, as if like she never punched him. And I'm like, really? You missed that huge of a continuity issue? And then when they're back on the rooftop, he somehow has the red chunks of blood on his face again. And I'm like, continuity people, hello. Now that I know, like now that I've studied different aspects of production, and I know that there's actually someone tasked with keeping track of continuity, I get that it's hard. Truly, I do, because I had to do it a few times. But like for something that big, like that big of a visual, like it's in your face, literally. I'm kind of surprised that no one noticed that, because it was just like blood, no blood, and it's like his coverage shot. Like, how would you not notice that? So that was just something that was a huge peeve, because like I said before, anything that doesn't click continuity wise, it takes me out of the moment, and then it's like, well, now you need a lot more effort to pull me back in, or it's like I'm fully like I'm not connected anymore. It's like that's it. So that was a huge thing for me there. But otherwise, the last scene of the season really was as the reporters, I don't know why, they're in hazmat suits. They're reporting at the spot where the acid bombs got dropped. So it's like a hazardous zone now. So the reporter is reporting from there. But then they get attacked. And then we see this figure walking away. And it looks, their leg is torn up to the point where like we see their skeleton bone. So either the acid really peeled off their skin, or whatever was in there reanimated, and now we're dealing with zombies. No idea. But we just see them walking away. The leg was the only indicator that like something was amiss, aside from the fact that they were also killed, the reporter and the camera guy, allegedly. So there's that. So we also have Ryan being back as CEO of Wayne Enterprises, which begs the question of like, what will now happen to Marcus now that he's back in his right mind? But then Jada also kind of sort of outed him, which got him out of being CEO of Ryan Enterprises or Wayne Enterprises. So I don't know. Also, would the Bat team change the security of where the Bat Cave is located now that Marcus and Alice have kind of gone down there, and Renee as well too? You need a better security thing there. And then also, I guess more of the question is, will we see Alice again? Because she left a note to Mary saying she was going to go to that Switzerland institution that Mary suggested to work on herself. So will we see Alice again, or will she return as Beth? I hope so, because I love Rachel Scarsden as in the role, and I'd love to see her back. But as of this recording, I have not found any news about whether or not we're going to get a season 4. And I'm kind of worried, because usually with the Arrowverse shows, they usually let them know before the finale airs on what the status of the show is. But now that... Ooh, hang on. I found an article. Give me one moment to read it. Okay, finished reading the article, saying that as of now, none of the CW shows have been renewed. But they also said that they did try to craft a finale where it would still be satisfying if it was the series finale, but hopefully it's not the series finale. So still not a definite answer, but it looks like we're going to have to wait till the May upfronts to get an answer about any of the renewals if we don't hear anything anytime soon. So I guess we'll have to wait and see if we're going to get a season 4 for Batwoman. I definitely think that they definitely have been ramping it up, and I'm really enjoying, definitely, now that I've seen, like, my note-wise, how they've separated the very specific villains and what they focused on this season. I really enjoyed where they put that focus, and it was really great. And I'm hoping we get to see them again. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So until then, that's pretty much it, guys. So what did you guys think of season 3 of Batwoman? What did you think of the finale? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want to check out my Tumblr page or my WordPress, both links are down below. They're both connected to each other. I post things for Batwoman. Haven't in a while because I have to change a lot of the linking stuff, but reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, all that stuff. Maybe not quotes, but yeah, you get my point. Otherwise, that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back to my channel and check out the other videos I have posted, and hopefully we'll have news about season 4. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.